Hey, what is up, mortals? It is GrogFunky here, with a new video for you. Welcome to part 7 of Season 3 of What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so, we begin. 2 days passed in fairy space. The Elder Wizards ordered Class 1A and 1B to get some rest. That way, they would all be fit and ready to face the epic battle that was ahead of them. On the appointed day, both classes gathered in the main room of the guild hall. The emotions of the group was a mixture of excitement and worry. None of them had been involved in a battle like this. However, they had spent every moment of the past 10 months training until they dropped. They all figured they were about as ready as they ever were going to be. Standing around the edge of the room were the fairy tale wizards that had spent the last 10 months training the students in magic. Included in this group was Jalal, Grey Fullbuster, Lucy Hartfilia, Mira Jane Strauss, Mavis Vermilion, Loxus Dreyer, Natsu Dragneel, Zareth, and a few other assorted individuals. Standing before the group was their teacher, Urza Scarlet, a determined look on her face. Before I tell you all the plan of attack, I just wanted to say that I am proud of each of you. You have all gone above and beyond the call of duty. Even though you have not gotten a hero license yet, know that each and every one of you has the heart of a true hero. The encouraging words from Urza energized the teens. All of their worries evaporated. Now, each and every student was determined to end the battle that Fairy Tail and the Earthland Wizards had started against Acnologia. They were not going to let this monster destroy their world, or any other. Urza looked out at the gathered students. She was moved by the determination she saw on their students' faces. Even as her heart swelled with pride, the stoic wizard kept her face stern and imposing. The red-haired wizard spoke in a firm tone. I am glad to see that you have all not lost your fighting spirit. Now let's move on to the battle plan. All Might is already out coordinating our counterattack. He had the other heroes, who are still standing, evacuating the civilians from the final battle site. They'll be done shortly. That gives me enough time to tell all of you how this fight will go down. Urza re-equipped a remote in her hand. She pressed the button on the device and a magic screen appeared in front of her. The screen showed a projection of a large area beneath the volcano. This will be the final battle site. We have chosen it because it is far enough away from large cities that we can fight without worrying about destroying our surroundings. This is also the perfect area to gather the enemy forces together. Mina Ashido raised her hand. Ma'am, what do you mean enemy forces? I thought we would face off against Acnologia himself. That was the plan, but life is subject to change. Urza pressed another button on her controller. The image on the screen shifted and several images of dragon soldiers appeared. These creatures appeared a few days ago. Local heroes have managed to keep them contained, but they have caused a lot of damage in Japan. Fortunately, casualties have been minimal. Thanks in no small part to many brave pro heroes, these creatures were created by Acnologia using these. Urza held up the small black lacrima before the group. Everyone except the Dragon Slayer youths were confused. The red-haired educator explained that they believe Acnologia had been selling the magic crystals on the black market as a power enhancer. The dark magic inside the crystal would empower the user, but they would also be contaminated by Acnologia's evil. Urza then stated that Acnologia used his own power to cause the users of the magic crystals to transform into the dragon soldiers. Momo then raised her hand. Sensei, do these soldiers each possess the strength of a dragon slayer? A good question, Miss Yaoyorozu. We do not think so. From reports in the field, these minions are strong and durable, but not at the level of a true dragon slayer. These facts allowed the group to relax a little. None of them were looking forward to having to fight an army of crazed dragons monsters that were as strong as Midoriya or Kaminari. With that new information out of the way, let me explain our plan of attack. Urza pulled up a map of the battle site. We are going to divide everyone here into 3 groups. The first group will act as a primary attack unit. This group will take the position on the side of the mountain. That way they will be attacking downhill. Once the battle begins, Master Mavis will teleport the other 2 groups into position on the field to get us maximum advantage. The students all thought the plan sounded good. However, a few of the more strategic-minded students wondered what part the heroes were going to play. While some individuals thought the plan would leave them exposed, they had no way of knowing how many of the dragon creatures there were. Urza could see that several of her students questioned the plan. The firm-eyed warrior continued. As for the pro heroes, All Might has been organizing them for 2 days to aid in this plan. Also, many of you will probably be wondering how we plan to bring Acnologia and his army to the battlefield. Firstly, Acnologia loves to crush the strong. The drive to face strong opponents is hardwired into all dragon slayers. The gathered heroes and wizards at the battle site should be more than enough to draw him there. Secondly, if the lure of battle is not enough, then we plan on using this. Urza pressed the remote again, and a large locker emerged from the floor behind her. The giant crystal glowed a blinding white. All of the students were shocked by this action. They all knew what this crystal was. The fairy heart. This object had given most of them their magic powers. The thought of using such a variable artifact as bait seemed like overkill. Urza replied to the group before anyone could speak. Many of you are probably thinking that this must be overkill. The students now wondered if their teacher could read minds. The fact that her reply was so close to their thoughts made all of them uncomfortable, especially a certain grape-headed teen. Urza continued. We will only use the fairy heart if a plan A does not work. As I taught you, students, it is always best to have a backup plan. Midoriya chimed in at this point. What is the first plan, Master? Plan 1, Midoriya, will place you, Kaminari, Marvel, Natsu, and Gajul in direct danger. Your Dragon Slayer energies will be like a magnet to Acnologia. The beast harbors a strong disgust for the dragons, and the slayers made to fight them. Since you all are very strong, it should lure him to the battlefield. Midoriya did not like the idea of being used as bait, but he had faith in Urza and the other masters. They had trained him and protected him until this point. He had no problem putting his life in their hands, especially if it meant that the world would not be destroyed. The green teen nodded at the warrior mage. The boy's face glowed with an aura of confidence. Urza smiled at the boy. She then turned to the rest of the crowd. With that, I will now divide all of you into the attack teams. After a while, the students of 1A and 1B were teamed up with one or two of the fairy tale wizards. The groups were then led to the field behind the guild hall. In the field, Mavis Vermilion stood before a strange-looking device. The tiny wizard were casting a spell over the giant metal arch. Several white magic circles appeared around the base of the device. The machine activated and absorbed the circles. The device went on to make several interesting noises. These included several barnyard animals. All right, everyone. That is our portal generator. This will allow me to deploy all of you, and the heroes in real space, to where I need them during the battle, so prepare yourselves. Midoriya leaned over and asked Wendy a question. Is it a good idea to go through that thing? It sounds like a kid's toy, and that woman seems a little crazy. What's your tone, Midoriya? Master Mavis may be a little off, but she's a brilliant strategist. They call her the fairy tactician. Midoriya got a weird look on his face after hearing that. Wendy took a deep breath and replied, Just know that our masters trust her with our lives. And it was thanks to her the magical knowledge that our friends got their magical powers back. You're right, Wendy. Besides, it's too late to back out now. The portal generator started to emit energy that looked like an Arctic aura. The energy started to swirl within the structure and formed a portal. All right, Dragon Slayer unit, you're up first. The unit consisted of Midoriya, Wendy, Kaminari, Gajul, and Natsu. The group stepped through the portal. After passing through the kaleidoscope-like passage, the 5-man unit walked onto the chosen battlefield. They stood on a flat plain at the foot of the mountain. All seemed calm in the area, but the group knew that this would not stay that way. Elsewhere, Acnologia sat in his cave, his body nearly recovered from the strain of using All for One in such an over-the-top way. But the draconian villain also felt a strange uneasiness flowing through his body. Acnologia could only describe the feeling as indigestion. The villain figured his body was still adjusting to all the powers he had stolen over the past weeks. Of course, feeling a little under the weather would not stop the ancient Dragon Slayer from completing his goal of world destruction. These thoughts all swirled through the creature's mind when this dragon sense started tingling. Acnologia could sense a strong dragon energy. The powerful man's ability to sense the world had gotten so much stronger in the past weeks, due to mainly in the influx of sensory quirks. Acnologia could tell that the signal he was getting was from 5 powerful dragon slayers. He knew that 2 of them must be the fire and iron dragons from Fairy Tale. The ancient man knew he had killed the other dragons back in Earthland, that the only left the lightning dragon, but he was not a true dragon slayer. No matter how powerful he was, one of the signals reminded Acnologia of the Sky Dragon Slayer, but he thought she had died. A sinister smile crept across Acnologia's face. The man spoke in an equally sinister tone. It doesn't matter how many dragons there are. They will fall to my power, all of the other dragons have. The giant man stood up and shouted at the top of his lungs. The world has no need of dragons! All must be destroyed! The Lord of Destruction crouched, down and leapt into the air. He then proceeds to crash through the roof of a cave he was in and earth above. Acnologia emerged into the air and transformed into his dragon form. The monster activated the quirk of Kurogiri, Warp Gate, which the Slayers stole after he killed All for One. Back on the battlefield, the Dragon Slayers were all waiting for their opponents to appear. This caused Gajeel and Natsu to become very impatient. Suddenly, several warp gates opened up on the battlefield. The army of dragon soldiers came storming out of the Stein gates. The group probably numbered in the thousands. The black-scaled beings encircled the dragon slayers. Then a giant gate opened in the sky above the battlefield. The draconic form of Acnologia appeared through the shadowy mass. Well, it is just as I thought. They're the two surviving dragon slayers from Earthland. The villain then saw the 3 teen slayers. And what do we have here? 2 dragons I don't know, and the Sky Dragon Slayer from Earthland. I thought you died. Oh well, I can fix that. Acnologia's body started to glow with a whitish-blue energy. The creature then opened his mouth up wide and released a beam of pure magical power. This move would have made Gyarados flee in panic. As the force beam plowed through the air, the Dragon Slayer group below kept their cool. Each one of them gave the others a nod of assurance as they all knew what to do. The group then jumped to the sides to avoid getting hit by the massive attack. The Dragon Wizards got out of the way as the beam hit. Unfortunately, many of the Dragon Slayers then had been surrounded, and the Dragon Slayers had been caught in the blast. The poor foot soldiers were reduced to ash by the powerful blast. As the dust and smoke from the blast cleared, Midoriya found himself all alone in a sea of dragon soldiers. The green teen lit his fist on fire and started attacking the soldiers around him with reckless abandon. The teen hit each soldier square on the maximum force. The problem was that the soldiers were far more durable than Midoriya knew they were going to be. It took 10 to 20 of his fire fists to take the soldiers down, one by one. Midoriya knew they were going to need help soon. Back in fairy space, Mavis was watching the battle unfold on a magic viewing screen. So far, the battle was occurring as she had planned. The short woman knew it was time to activate Stage 2. Mavis waved her hand in the air and brought up a smaller viewing screen. The screen had All Might's face on it. All Might, is your squad ready to engage? The giant man responded in an enthusiastic tone.
We're ready and waiting. You just give the word.
Is that special plan we discussed in the meeting ready to go also?
It is. We will need 2 portals for this strike to be effective enough, though.
I'm aware of that, All Might. This is my plan, after all. Mavis waved her hand towards the portal device, and then spoke to the small viewing screen. All Might, proceed through the portals. You are a go. Give that scaly bastard hell. Back on the battlefield, a giant portal opened up on the high part of the mountain. All Might and a large group of pro heroes emerged from the rainbow-colored entrance. The group spread out along the mountain. All Might then shouted at the top of his lungs, loud enough for all enemies below to hear.
You know what we came here for, heroes. Now let's end this creature's threat. Let's all go beyond. Plus Ultra!
With those words, all of the heroes gave a loud shout and charged down the hill. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and hackers could exploit you. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making you harder to track, securing your privacy. In addition to providing you with safe passage through the web, you can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services. Are you tired of going through 2, 3, or even 4 streaming services to watch your favorite anime? Well, with NordVPN, you can change your country and be able to binge shows like My Hero Academia, Naruto, and many others on your favorite streaming services with just the press of a button. Check out the link in the description to get 72% off when buying for 2 years at $3.29 a month. This deal is only for a limited time, and thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Above the battlefield, Acnologia saw the mass of approaching heroes. The monster thought to himself, how stupid these humans are. Do they not realize I can steal all of their quirks? They'll just make me stronger. Acnologia activated All for One within himself. The villain's body became cloaked in a dark energy, but just as the energy appeared, it dissipated. The villain tried again, but this time the energy did not activate. Acnologia spoke in a quizzical tone.
What is going on? All for One won't activate.
The villain wondered if his body had still not recovered from overusing the power. The creature did not think this was the answer. This felt like something was blocking his power. Acnologia scanned the battlefield. On a ridge, high up in the mountains, there was a group of heroes. This group included the normal hero Manuel, the underground hero Eraserhead, and a hero that was using a barrier power to protect the two. Eraserhead stood looking up at Acnologia while Manuel hydrated his eyes.
So that is it. If I remember correctly, that hero has the ability to stop quirks from activating. Well, that's easy enough to stop.
Acnologia opened his mouth to release another powerful blast. The energy was about to eject from his maw when a powerful blow hit the Dragon King's lower jaw. This caused Acnologia's mouth to close suddenly and sent the creature flying toward the ground. The creature managed to pull out of the dive at the very last moment. Standing a short ways away was All Might. With his fist raised, the powerful hero then spoke in a loud and affirmative tone.
Thought you could get rid of Aizawa and the others to get your powers back, monster? Well, it's not going to be that easy. To get to them, you'll have to get through me first!
Suddenly, Midoriya and the other Dragon Slayers appeared by the number one hero's side. He's not the only one! Your reign of terror ends today, Acnologia! Kaminari, Wendy, Natsu, and Gajul agreed.
You will fall, just like everyone else who stood in my way. Now prepare to die!
The three Dragon Teens knew it was time to go all out. The three teens summoned forth their full power. Their teeth elongated into fangs, their skin became scaly, and their magical power became visible to the naked eye. This was the form known as Dragon Force. Midoriya added to his power by summoning forth his enhanced elemental energies. Midoriya called forth his flames of the righteous, his flaming turning into a deep silver and growing in heat and ferocity. Kaminari remarked at seeing his friend's power boosted by saying, You're not the only one with a new power. Kaminari's lightning went from yellow to deep crimson red. I call this my awesome lightning! Wendy, Natsu, and Gajul all took on their Dragon Force forms as well. Wendy then cast a spell called Sky Equip. Wind Chariot, and 5 powerful rings made of encircling wind formed around her teammates, and All Might. All of them then flew into the sky to fight Acnologia. Back in fairy space, Mavis saw that things were going well in the battlefield. The hero squad was dealing with the dragon soldiers. All Might and the Dragon Slayers had taken to the sky to face off against Acnologia, all according to her plan. The green-eyed woman activated the portal device again, and 2 portals opened in the yard. Okay, everyone, you know the plan. Classes A and B split up and go through the portals. Finish, I'll follow the dragon soldiers quickly so we can focus on Acnologia. Urza turned to her students and gave a firm command. You heard the master. Everyone forward. Fight with everything you have. On the battlefield, the 2 portals opened and the members of 1A and 1B charged onto the battlefield. They were accompanied by the remaining fairy tale wizards. Urza and her students joined the heroes in the battle against the dragon soldiers. The 2 forces combined and went to work. The soldiers were tough, but against such a powerful force, they were no match. It took some time to finish them off. In the sky, All Might, Midoriya, and the others waged a fierce battle against Acnologia. All Might used his speed and power to lay powerful punches against the villains. Each blow had the power to knock over a building. Midoriya and the Dragon Slayers flew around and tried to bombard the creature with Dragon Roar attacks, but Acnologia just ate their attacks. After a heated exchange, the group backed off and came up with a new plan of attack. Guys, I think we're going to have to execute the final part of our plan. Natsu replied in an energetic tone. You're right, Midoriya. We have no choice. If we wait any longer, we won't have enough magical power to perform that move. Gajul complained. Well, it may be a good idea. That monster is not going to stand there while we prepare the attack. All Might broke in.
How much time do you need?
Natsu answered the blonde man. About 5 minutes.
I'll get you that. Get started.
With those 2 short sentences, All Might flew off toward Acnologia. As the number 1 hero flew through the air, he summoned all the power that One For All had into his right fist. The hero then gave a loud and dramatic shout.
Take this, you monster! United States of Smash!
All Might hit the Black Dragon with his most powerful attack. The blow caused a hurricane of force to explode through the sky. Wendy saw that All Might was going to do this last minute. The clever girl created a wind force field to protect the group from the force of All Might's attack. You heard, All Might. Let's get started! The group got inside a circle. Each one of them started to chant a spell in unison. Each one began to glow with their elemental color. Gajul in gray, Natsu in fiery red, Midoriya in silver, and Kaminari in crimson red. The 3 then completed their chant by saying in unison, Dragon Slayer Ultimate Magic Acnologia's End! All Might's attack sent Acnologia plummeting into the ground. The powerful Dragon Slayer's body was battered and bruised.
That was impressive, All Might. You are different than most heroes in this world. But even you could not finish me off. All I have to do is absorb some magic and I'll be as good as new. I think not, Beast. Your time ends today.
Suddenly, the 5 Dragon Slayers appeared around Acnologia. The 5 then placed their hands in front of them, and a giant magic circle appeared on the ground beneath Acnologia. Chains of magic energy emerged from the circle and wrapped themselves around the destroyer. There would be no escape from this spell.
You Dragon Slayers are short of memory. Do you remember that I have no magical alignment?
The creature then opened his mouth and began to consume the magic from the spell.
We didn't forget, Acnologia. We were just prepared for it.
What is that supposed to mean?
Suddenly, a feel of nausea overcame the ancient warrior. It felt like his stomach was on fire.
What did you do to me?
Wendy displayed a bracelet on her wrist. She then spoke up in a firm tone.
The Masters knew that you would just consume any spell we threw at you, and they had no real way to combat that, until you disrupted your energies in those Dragon Soldier crystals. Zeref got a hold of some, and was able to reverse engineer a type of magic that you couldn't consume easily. He then placed in these wristbands, the way that you could release it when we were ready for our final attack.
Midoriya and the others nodded in agreement. The green team then said,
Let's do it this, guys!
Each one of the wizards took a stance, and a magic circle of white energy appeared on the ground. Acnologia knew what this spell was. The beast could not hide the worry in his voice when he spoke.
This can't be! There's no way you could use that spell!
A bright white light enveloped the group as they chanted in unison. Fairy Law! Acnologia was consumed by the blinding light of the spell. But even though he was battered, he refused to be beaten. The dragon started to glow with a sinister black and purple energy. This energy fought against the light of Fairy Law. A short distance away, Urza, the UA students, and the heroes had defeated all the dragon soldiers. The scaly creatures all laid out unconscious or immobilized on the ground. The group stared as Agnologia's darkness fought against the light of the Dragon Slayer's spell. Momo was the first to speak.
Master Scarlet, is that supposed to be happening?
No, the Fairy Law infused with Dragon Slayer magic should have destroyed the beast instantaneously.
So what is happening?
My guess would be that since Acnologia could not use the quirks inside of him, he is using them to power his dark energy. Even the 5 of them may not have enough power to defeat Acnologia. Uraraka spoke up then.
What about Unison Raid?
What do you mean, girl?
All of the 1A and 1B students, along with the other wizards here, link our magic together with the 5 Dragon Slayers. And together, do you think that could work?
It would be dangerous, and a unison raid between so many people has never been done before, and so much magical energy could destroy everyone connected to it. It is a crazy idea, but if we don't try, then Acnologia will kill us all for sure. Urza opened her mind to all of her allies. Everyone focus your minds and hearts toward the Dragon Slayers. Remember, magic is based on emotion. Have your hearts connect to them and your powers should link up. With those instructions, everyone, even the heroes, all focused their minds on the Dragon Slayers. The students and the wizards began to glow in the same white light as the Dragon Slayers. Good. Now give them all your power. Hold nothing back. The group did as instructed. They all forced every bit of power they had towards the combat zone. The Dragon Slayers were going and doing everything they could to hold the Fairy Law spell, but the darkness of Acnologia was pushing them back. Suddenly, each of the Dragon Slayers felt a burst of energy, as if their magic had been multiplied. The 5 felt as if each and every one of their friends and allies were standing beside them. This feeling renewed their desire to defeat the evil that stood before them. The Dragon Slayers took their new power and poured it into the spell. The light of the spell grew stronger. The light grew so bright that even the sun was no match for its brilliance. Acnologia struggled mightily, but even his darkness was no match for this light. The creature had lived for millennia and destroyed a whole reality, but this was the last moment. As the spell enveloped him, his last thought was, "Destruction will be mine." The light burned through his very existence. It erased every cell and fiber of the creature until there was nothing left. All of the wizards passed out after this attack. The heroes set to work with the cleanup. A few days later, Midoriya was lying asleep in a hospital bed. Suddenly, the green teen woke up with a start.
What is going on? Where am I?
You're awake. That is good to see. We were all getting a little worried about you, Midoriya. As the fog of sleep cleared and the green teen's eyes opened, he saw that Urza was sitting at the side of the bed. Midoriya then let out a series of questions in his rambling style.
Master, what happened? Did we defeat Acnologia? What is this place? How did I get here?
Urza got up from her chair and punched Midoriya in the gut to make him shut up. Calm down, Midoriya. You have been asleep for 3 days. It is not good for you to get so panicked when you first get up. Midoriya thought to himself, it probably isn't helpful to get punched in the gut, either. Of course, he didn't say that out loud, out of fear of getting punched again. As I was trying to say, you have been out for 3 days. All of us were brought to this hospital for observation. The others and myself woke up 2 days ago. After they were cleared by the doctors, they've all been helping with the cleanup in the cities. Those dragon soldiers caused a lot of damage during the weeks they were active. Midoriya was glad to hear that they had won the fight. If he never saw a monster like Acnologia again, it would be too soon. Urza continued. As I said, you and the other Dragon Slayers have been out for 3 days. The doctors were getting worried, but I told them you had chanted a large amount of magic through your bodies. It would take time for your systems to heal from that. I'm glad to see that you're right. Are Wendy and Kaminari still here? Yes, they are. Urza walked over to the door and slid it open. They've been waiting for you to wake up. Kaminari and Wendy walked in and saw that their friend was awake and okay. Kaminari gave him a thumbs up. Wendy ran over and wrapped the green-haired boy in a fierce bear hug. Urza left the room and let the friends catch up. A few weeks later, the fairy tale wizards and the UA students of 1A and 1B gathered on the battlefield where they had fought Acnologia. Mavis Vermilion and Marikov Dreyer stood in the front of the assembled group. Marikov was the first to speak. My children, I'm glad to see that you could all gather here on this glorious day. We have finally put an end to the menace to all the life that was Acnologia. And it's all thanks to you. Mavis picked up from Marikov. We wanted you all to be here for this event. You've earned it. Both Mavis and Marikov stood apart and placed their hands before them. A magic circle appeared before them, and they chanted in unison, Return to this plane once again, O home of the fairies, so you may once again be a gathering place for our family. Suddenly, the fairy tale guild hall appeared before the group. Now that Acnologia is gone, it's time that we focus on the future of Fairy Tale. Mavis waved her hand, and the sign of the guild hall changed to read Fairy Tale Hero Agency. Even though you all have proven yourselves to be great heroes, you must still pass your final 2 years of UA. Once you do that, know that there will be a spot available to each of you as part of the Fairy Tale Agency. The group of students broke out in a round of cheers. Every one of them agreed to this. They said they would work even harder at their students and graduate with honors. They would then return to the place of true heroes. Mavis and Marikov nodded in approval. I'm glad to hear that. The Elder Wizard then waved his hand and the front door opened. Let this day mark the new beginning of Fairy Tale in the world of heroes. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that we the Celestials have many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description. So feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Now that's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.